And we are on page 305 and 306. When we last studied the KUZARI, we were talking about prayer and the importance of communal prayer. Because when you include yourself as part of a group, you fortify others and you fortify yourself. And Plato is what Rabbi Yehuda Halevi had quoted. Curiously enough, normally Rabbi Yehuda Halevi does not quote secular philosophers. But in this instance, he does. And he says that this is an idea that when you try to do communal work, you try to work on behalf of the community and not just on behalf of yourself, then everyone wins in the process. This is what Plato's Republic largely discussed, which was the formation of societies and communities. Now, there's a lot in Plato's Republic that modern political science would not agree with in today's world, because Plato was not a big proponent of democracy. He felt that democracy was something that could bring societies down and not elevate them. He believed instead in benevolent monarchs who were filled with wisdom and who could lead properly, the philosopher king, right? But there's a lot in the Republic which contains wisdom about the idea of the need for a sense of community, a sense of forming a strong city so that everyone benefits, because no man is an island, and you flourish when you're part of a community, not when you're by yourself. And Judaism subscribes to that idea as well. Kol Yisrael arevim zeh lazeh. We all have communal responsibility, so that no Jew can say, it's between me and the Ribono Shel Olam, right? Because there's more than just me and the Ribono Shel Olam. There's all of Am Yisrael that I have to be concerned about, and that has to take an active role in my life, and I have to take an active role in the communal life of Am Yisrael. So, and that's one of the reasons why, says Rabbi Yehuda Halevi, we have to concern ourselves even during the most personal times of our prayer. We have to concern ourselves with thinking about the rest of Klal Yisrael. We can't just focus on ourselves and on our own needs. We have to be thinking about the needs of my community and the entire Jewish people. And that's why all of the prayers are written in the plural, and that's why there's virtue in davening with a minyan, especially for men. So in paragraph number 5, he says, Plato thus called what one spends by community decree the community portion. And just in case you wanted to see the little snippet from the Republic, I have it for you in the handout today. So Plato, the Republic is a dialogue, and there's a lot of different characters, and we're jumping, we're parachuting into one portion. He says, well then I said, in a city as I believe comes into being because each of us isn't self-sufficient, but is in need of much, Plato says. Do you believe that there's another beginning to the founding of a city? In other words, why do people start cities to begin with? It's because no individual is completely self-sufficient. And that's what the other protagonist responded. No, there is no other reason to start a city. You start a city because we need each other. Like if I'm a shoemaker and you're a farmer, right, it's not going to serve either of us for us to live independently of each other. So that you farm and you provide me with with wheat, and I'm a shoemaker and I provide you with shoes. And then we need a butcher, and we need a candle maker, and we need all of the different people that can have different trades that can make up a city, and all of us benefit from us sharing in resources. That's basically what a city is all about. So then, when one man takes on another for one need and another for another need, and since many things are needed, many men gather in one settlement as partners and helpers. To this common settlement we give the name city, don't we? Most certainly. Now, does one give a share to another if he does give a share or take a share in the belief that it's better for himself? Certainly. Okay, and that's what Plato is calling the community share. This goes on for pages, by the way, so I only gave you just a very short snippet of a much larger section where Plato talks about the virtue of being part of the community and contributing what he calls the community portion to that city, to that community. And that's the obligation, but it's a self-serving obligation. not only am I helping others, but I'm also helping myself in the process. Okay? So, and like Rabbi Yehuda Levi said, when it comes to communal prayer, how do I help myself by including myself in the community? Not only am I taking responsibility for others, but others are taking responsibility for me. So like we learned a couple of weeks ago from one of the poskim, one of the benefits of communal prayer is that if I'm not having a good day in my davening, and my prayer is a bit lackluster, and it lacks kavanah, but my including myself within the community of people who are prayerful will hopefully get me some benefit, because what I'm not able to accomplish today, my friend down the road is able to accomplish with her prayers. Okay? And then tomorrow, when she's having a bad day, and I'm feeling a little bit more inspired, I'll be able to daven for the both of us, and as a community, we can end up with a nice davening. Yes?
I just want to give a real-life example that happened to me last week. I was trying to get my car out of the driveway, and I was literally spinning my wheels because my whole driveway was full of ice, and I wasn't going anywhere fast. I didn't know what to do. Someone told me, call Chaverim. I didn't even know there were Chaverim in Toronto. I got the number of Chaverim. Within 10 minutes, a man was in my car. He rocked it back and forth for 2 minutes, and it was out of the driveway.
Wow.
And he was Lubavitch. I said, what's your name? He said, Menachem Mendel. He was Lubavitch. And I said, what can I do? I want to thank you. I want to give you something. He said, no, Chaverim Kol Yisrael.
Chaverim Kol Yisrael?
What
a beautiful organization, huh?
Exactly. Amazing. And so I want to give them a shout out.
And their number is 800?
I don't know. It's not an 800 number.
Oh, okay.
It's something 647, I think.
Okay, but you can find it probably online. But what a wonderful organization. And there's so many of these different kinds of service organizations, gemachs, and so forth. And that's how we all end up benefiting, right? That's the community portion. Okay. Now, this is not just in Plato. If you take a look at the next paragraph of the KUZARI, subparagraph number 6, and in fact, he is betraying himself even more. Not only is he betraying the entire community by not participating in the community portion, but he betrays himself even more. For an individual within a community is like an individual organ within a body. If the arm refused to relinquish its blood during a bloodletting, the entire body would perish, and the arm along with it. It is therefore proper for an individual to endure suffering to the point of death itself for the sake of the welfare of the community. One's greatest concern is the community portion, and one may not shirk his obligation toward it. So Rabbi Yehuda Halevi compares the idea of Kol Yisrael Chaverim. Sorry about the noise today. He compares the idea of Kol Yisrael Chaverim or Kol Yisrael Arevim Zeh Lazeh as we're all one body. The arm can't say, well, I'm not going to profuse my blood because then the rest of the body will suffer. And by the way, you know, Rabbi Yehuda Halevi uses the body as an analogy for humanity in other places as well. If you remember, he had compared all of humanity to a human body, and the Jewish people are the heart of the organ of the heart for the rest of humanity. But here he's saying that we as a Jewish community are like one body, and we can't say, you do your thing, I'll do my thing, and it's no one's business what I end up doing, because we end up not only not helping the entire body since we're all together, but we end up betraying ourselves. Now, just to point out that what he's really referencing is a midrash. And I just for the sake of brevity, I have the midrash here for you in English as well. But we'll just start it off in Hebrew. Tani Chizkiah, it's from Medrash Rabbah Vayikra Rabbah, Parsha Daled. Sefizura Yisrael. The Jewish people, says Yirmiyahu, are a wandering or scattered sheep. And by the way, the word seh is a single sheep. We are compared to a single sheep, the entire nation of Israel. So Nimshalu Yisrael L'seh, the Jewish people are compared to a single sheep. Ma'aseh hazeh lokeh al rosho ube'echad me'evarav v'chol evarav margishin. Just like if a sheep were to sustain an injury, if it gets hit in a limb or in its head or in some one of its appendages, its entire body aches. Kach hein Yisrael, echad mehen chotei v'chulan margishin. That if one person fails in their service to Hashem, then this affects all of us. It affects all of us. Now, of course, the Medrash is referring to the negative, but we can change. The converse is also true. When one person acts virtuously, so then all of us feel the benefit as well. All of us retain some of that benefit. Ha'ish echad. So therefore, he quotes a pasuk. Ha'ish echad yecheta. Can it be that one person sins? Moshe said to Hashem, and then everyone else should suffer because of it? And the answer Hashem says is yes. Sometimes if one person does something wrong within a community, then the entire community has to bear that responsibility. Tani Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Mashal livnei adam shahayu yoshvin bisfina. This is a famous analogy. This can be compared to a group of people who are sitting in a boat. Natal echad mehen makdeach v'hitchil kodeach tachtav. So one fellow pulls out a drill and drills a hole in the floor of the boat where he is sitting. So Amru lo chaverav mata yoshev va'oseh. All of his friends say to him, "What do you think you're doing? Drilling a hole in the boat." Amar lahem ma yichbat lachem lo tachti ani kodeach. He says, "What do you care what I'm doing? It's under my seat. Why should it have any effect on you?" Okay. Amru lo shahamayim olimu mitzifim aleinu et hasfina. And of course they respond to him and says, "Well, of course we care, because when you drill a hole underneath your place, the water, the whole boat springs a leak and will sink and drown." Kach amar Eov. So this is what Eov said to his friends. He said to them, because when his friends told him, you've got to, if you're sinning, you've got to stop. They didn't really understand why Eov was suffering so much, but they suspected that it might have been because he was committing some crimes. And they said to him, "You've got to stop." So Eov, one of the responses that Eov said to them was, "What do you care what I do with my life? Va'af omnam shagiti iti talin meshugati." He says, if I sin, then it's on me. What does it have to do with you? And their response, Amr lo chaverav ki yosif al chatato pesha beinenu yispok. He says, because when you sin, it gets compounded and added to us. Atama speak beinenu et avonotecha. That you place upon us some of the responsibility for your sin, because we are all in this together. And that, again, is the reason for communal prayer. And what we're going to continue, what we're going to continue as sort of like a tangent in the idea of prayer, is in the next paragraph. Rabbi Yehuda Levi is going to detail for us that Hashem detailed so many mitzvot that we do on a communal level, like tzedakah, and like taking care of the poor and making sure that everyone in our community is provided for. Now, Judaism does not necessarily subscribe to socialism. It's more structured using a democracy, a democratic system, but a benevolent democratic system of government. And when I say democracy, I don't mean a pure democracy either, but because the Torah subscribes to a monarchy. But it's a benevolent monarchy that demands of every individual to tithe and to provide for those less fortunate within society. And part of that has to do with this whole idea of Kol Yisrael Arevim Zeh Lezeh. And that's what we'll talk about Mitzvah Hashem next time. Any questions or comments? Okay. If not, I'd like to go to the parsha.